Thank you, everyone. Welcome to another amazing episode in addition to Chevalier, where we are here to basically help everyone find happy, healthy, and loving relationships. Whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, South American, and even the penguins in Antarctica. The value to me is putting something together where I can help single people build happy and loving relationships. Because too often in today's dating market, men and women spend so much time at each other that we don't spend enough time trying to ease the gap so that way we can build happy and loving relationships. So unfortunately, we put ourselves in a situation where that men are pursuing women vigorously. The women don't need men, specifically and unfortunately in the black community, and everybody is warring in between. So hopefully I'm creating a platform where men and women can understand that we need each other equally. And the only way we're going to get there is by people putting themselves forward to try to mend the gap, to try to say, hey, what issues is plaguing our community, no matter what ethnicity you are, and what can we do to make it better? And the way I was raised is if you're not part of the solution, then you're not doing anything to help the problem. Because most people will say, oh, well, this is what the issue with dating is. This is the issue with men. This is the issue with women. But then when you kind of ask, like, what are you doing to, like, perpetuate and help the issue? Like, most people can't give you answers. It's like, well, if the issue is the men, what are you doing to help the men? What are you doing on your end to help make things better? And most people can't give you a clear, defined answer, but they can always tell you what the problem is. Doesn't solve anything. If anything, if we want to solve the issue in dating, then we need to come up with solutions that help men, that help women better want to come together, so that way we're not continuously going through the same thing generation to generation to generation with no real solution. Because at the end of the day, regardless of the generation, the makeup of the world, the state of life, we really all need each other. And I think that we should definitely create platforms, whether it's online or in person, that are going to bridge that gap. So thank you all for joining. I am Sebastian Michaelis, and welcome to Chevalier. The value of this week's video is talking about cuffing season. I don't generally use that term, but it's a term that's widely used for people who are single to celebrate the holiday season together. Because obviously getting into the holiday season, where it's Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, which in most cases are considered the most valuable holidays of the year, which is why they're held towards the end of the year. People want somebody to be with. No one wants to be alone per se. And having someone to be with and spend the holiday season with, it's not only valuable, but it's almost like mandatory. Unfortunately, in most ethnicities, most of your depression, most of your suicides, most of your mental health issues seem to flare up this time of the year, specifically because this time of the year was more meant for people to be thankful for their wives, for their husbands, for their kids, for their uncles, nieces, nephews, family, and everything that we can be appreciative of. And unfortunately, because so many people have been so used to this I don't need a man, I don't need a woman syndrome that is killing most communities, that we get used to feeling like we don't need the other person because I can do it by myself. Can't none of us do this by ourselves. It was never meant for us to do by ourselves by design. This whole dating mechanism was meant for us to put ourselves out here to meet someone of the opposite sex, so that way we could create a family that would benefit the structure of the community and of the people around us. And I think at the end of the day, we get so used to this I don't need quote unquote whoever, that when the holiday season comes, that time that celebrates people who created families, kids, wives, husbands, boyfriends, fiancés, that we often feel left out. That sometimes we feel like, like almost feel ashamed. And I think for most people, not that anybody should feel ashamed, but for most people, they feel guilty because they know they had the opportunity all year long to find that person that they wanted to be with, to find that person they wanted to be inspired by. But instead of that, is I want to be single, I'm going to do me, I don't need nobody. And then unfortunately, when you get to a time of the year or an engagement or work activity where you have to invite someone to you, you're by yourself. And then you feel like, well, I don't have anybody to be with. I don't have anybody to spend time with. But in most cases, especially with women, it's not that you don't have that opportunity. It's usually, unfortunately, because you really don't care. Because dating isn't a value to you. Dating is for a percentage of women is just something to do when I'm bored. And not understanding that women of the silent generation and the beginning of Generation X understood that having a man is a mandatory need for provisions, for protection, for raising children, for love, for intimacy, for creating a mental stability where people can actually grow to be happy. But most importantly, let's be honest, financially. I think so often we get so derived in our selfish pride that we forget that we need the other half to complete us. And like I said, that was a point in which having a man was a mandatory need. So women didn't have the issues of today back then. And it has nothing to do with the generation. It just has to do with the fact that women knew they needed men, so they didn't have this whole pride thing of being single. That's why most families were able to enjoy Christmas. Most families were able to enjoy holidays. Were able to enjoy the times of the year where they could spend money buying presents for each other, cooking dinner for each other at Thanksgiving, celebrating a year of rebirth and change, as in the new year, going out to the creepy holiday parties and all those things in between. Cuffing season to me is a joke term, for laughs, but there's nothing funny about it. Cuffing season should be 365 days a year, where we should be more understanding that we need each other. Men need women, women need men. We got to get off this whole independent nonsense, this fake false narrative, especially in the black community, where you don't need no man, I don't need no man. Yeah, you do. We all need everybody. We all need each other. And I wish we understand that. And that's why this video to me is so important, is because I want to bring an understanding that if men and women understand how much we need each other, then spending holidays like this would be more enjoyable, would be fun, would be exciting. You'd actually look forward to the holiday season. But it just shouldn't be because of the holiday season. It should be because you have someone that love and appreciate you year round. So let's put ourselves in the mind frame of this, killing this whole independent notion. And let's focus more on knowing that we need the opposite sex so we can have a happy and healthy relationship. I really appreciate you guys for taking the time to tune in, to check out my videos, because again, I don't care less about views. I'm more focused on trying to help people so that way I can help build the communities around us. Be safe. Think about it. Peace. We are gone.